I try to be as open as I can. Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. Oh, the invisible man.
Hey, we're live, Phil.
Hey, how's it going? I didn't hear anything.
Oh. Okay.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, we're doing well. Your mic's a little bit funny. It went funny again.
Oh? I don't know why.
Okay, you sounded good now. Okay.
All right. Well, welcome to the Invisible Man Show. I'm Colorado Phil. People haven't seen a lot of me lately, but I'm in my new location here in Manitoba, the 204, and we're going to have a lot of fun this afternoon on the Invisible Man Show. We are welcoming special musical guests. It's all in the mind from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Right at the top of the show, we're going to have the world premiere of their latest music video. We're going to have some live music from our guests. So stick around. It's going to be a lot of fun. I just want to take this opportunity right now to introduce to everybody. It's all in the mind from Winnipeg, featuring Ryan Janz and Mark David Stallard. You guys, welcome to the show.
Yeehaw!
Hey, thanks, Phil. It's great. Such a great honor to be on your show. Thanks. It's been brilliant.
I forgot to tell people it's our show, but that's okay. I didn't want to spoil their surprise, you know.
Having a little bit of fun.
All good. And we don't have to worry about as many technical issues, but it's coming through fine on the
perfect
on the live stream here. So
awesome.
Viewers of our show will know that it's not a show unless something goes wrong, and I'm sure something will sooner or later, but usually they're minor. Sometimes they're major.
Unless I start reading books and stuff.
Yeah,
Jeez.
no books.
No books today.
Your
no books today.
material is your own business, Phil. That's
you know, I'm actually going to be doing my very first interview ever. All right, that's not a word of a lie. Let me see here. I do have some of my own questions here. Tell us a bit about yourselves. Who wants to go first, Mark or Ryan?
Mark will go first.
I always go first. I always go first. Well, mine is Mark Davis Stallard.
he's the front man.
As you can tell, I was born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Maybe I wasn't. Originally from England. I came from a fairly musical family. We certainly had music playing all around us all the time. We were forced to take piano lessons. I decided to be the rebel and pick up a guitar and teach myself. And yeah, ever since then, I've been a musician working various clubs and pubs and churches actually around England. Moved to Canada, 1990s. Took a few years off. Met Ryan, started playing music again. And and we're here. We're now doing our own show every Saturday, 2 p.m.
That's awesome. Mark, I want to also ask you, when you're not playing music and pulling in all those mega independent music bucks,
yes.
what do you do as a hobby, let's say?
As a hobby? Well, I play music.
No,
actually, I usually do this at the end of the show. I'm an author. I write short stories, children's books. There you go. That's one of the hobbies. I do animation, and that's actually one of the things. The music video that we've got is actually an animated. There's animation on top of video footage, and with me and Ryan doing a guest appearance at the end in our own music video. Who knew?
Awesome. Now I was going to.
What about Ryan?
Ask.
What about Ryan?
I was going to ask the same from Ryan.
He's moving on.
I'm not
it's
being
all right.
racist.
Yeah, that's right. Racism.
Tell us about yourself, Ryan.
All right. Well, unlike Mark, and I'm saying that this with all the kindness we can. We love having Mark here in Winnipeg. But I was born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I grew up in North Kildonan. Anybody who's familiar with that is more on the north side of the city, north, I guess it'd be east. And moved out, and I been kind of out and about all over East Central, and now sort of more towards the Kildona Park, if you're familiar with that. That's where we're settled. That's the new area. I'm no longer in the loft at 788 McCalman, as I so lovingly referred to my old recording space. This is the loft. This is a basement. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. I don't know, the dungeon.
The bunker.
The bunker. Yeah, there you go. I like that. There you go.
So same question to you, Ryan. When you're not pulling in the mega bucks from independent music, what do you like to do?
In my spare time,
or for a living, whatever.
Okay, so for a living, I've said many times on the show before, I'm in the fire and life safety trade, which makes me an electronics technician. So that naturally carries over to a lot of my hobbies, involve usually fixing or tearing apart something, putting it back together. That not as much so more, because as many people have seen, any fans of our show, my daughter usually comes and says hi. She's actually been asleep this time, but most of my time is taken up being a dad and a husband. The few times that I do get to, I do actually, I've not mentioned it before, but I have mentioned it to Mark. I actually am writing a book myself. It's a bit more of a novel. So I'm kind of in the first draft, get everything together, then we'll get it edited, then we'll get it, read through all that stuff. And also do all kind of various little projects. I have an art school background as well. Sometimes I'll do some drawing. Sometimes I'll do photo editing. Photography is a big creative outlet for me. So I'm never short of a hobby. That's for sure.
Right on. Thank you so much. I got some more questions, but I think now, Mark, are we ready for the premiere of the video?
Let's do it. All right. So
let's do it.
Let's make sure I get the right one.
So for anybody who's joining us and has never seen the show before, we've done quite a bit of Mark. Mark has got quite the knack. I'm very impressed always with the work that he does with our music videos and with just our videos and his content in general. Well, I'm sure he'll have links to this towards the end of the show. But it's just such a treat to see Mark's work. In fact, there's times, I will tell you later, there's one video that he did for us, and it actually I got a belly laugh out of it. Like I laughed really hard. But we can talk about that later. So without further ado.
Yeah, so this
video, it's a music video of the song It's All in the Mic?
The Invisible Man. So this is the title theme, the theme tune for this show, and it's the whole song. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to do, and it still makes me giggle when I look at it. Here we go.
Every day begins like the one before, hoping that today you become something more. I get so nervous as we pass in the hall. I cast a smile, but you can't see me. Why don't you look at me? I've tried to be as open as I can. Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. I sit at a table in the old cafe, gazing through the steam of my hot latte. Doorway frames your stunning silhouette. Say hello, but you can't hear me. Why don't you look at me? I've tried to be as open as I can. Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. A cab pulls up, the driver helps you in. You glance my way before you step within. Your cyan eyes shine in the cold setting sun. Wave goodbye, but you look through me. Why don't you look at me? I've tried to be as open as I can. Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. Why don't you look at me? I've tried to be as open as I can. Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. Oh, the invisible man.
There you go.
Woo, that was awesome.
Okay, well, that's all for a second. I thought we lost sound.
I scared you, eh?
Phew.
Uh-oh, Ryan, where are you?
Oh, unmute yourself.
Ryan. Ryan.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Aha, there we
There
go.
you are. Hey, that was an awesome music video.
Thank you.
Invisible man.
Go, too many knobs and buttons to play with.
I know that feeling. So I got another question here. How long, or how did you guys meet, first of all, and how long before you guys started playing together?
Okay.
And how long until the actual band, It's All in the Mind, was actually born?
Okay, well, I mean, those are multiple questions there. First question was, we met at work. Ryan was installing some printers at the place where I was IT manager.
Yep.
And we hit it off. And yeah, within that first hour or so, turns out we're both musicians. He's a bass player. I need a bass player. And it was like, well, let's get together. Let's see if we can work
So you
together.
guys goofed off at
So
work
it was
then?
almost right away. So
Mark, do you remember why we were stuck together for so long? Like, because I remember installing about 3 or 4 printers that day, but then we had a specific problem with one of them. Do you remember what it was?
not particularly. No, I don't.
I remember because I specifically had pointed this out to the people, the powers that be on higher up in my organization. Is we were installing a printer scanner combo. And it was this tiny little, like, I think it was like an HP 1310 or something like that. Okay. And the way it scans and sends data, it has like 2 protocols. And one of them is SNMP, Simple Network Message Protocol. And as an IT manager, most IT managers hate SNMP. Yeah, because it's just way too. It's like a backdoor. If you're any kind of even half competent hacker, it just opens up so many doors. And so then we were trying to get the HP protocol, the other protocol, and I don't remember what that one was, to talk to your server. And we could get it to talk, but we couldn't get it to transfer or something like that. And we tried rebooting workstations, the print server, like everything, like you could conceivably. So while we're waiting for all that stuff to happen, we're just like, oh yeah, let's try this and talk about that and this and that and the other thing. And then I think it was like, it wasn't that evening, but it was like a couple evenings later that that was like a Wednesday, and it would be like, hey, I'll come by Friday and let's just jam and see where this goes.
Oh yeah.
So it was quick, and then of course we played like a Friday or a Saturday, whatever it was, and then Mark was like, oh, I've got a show coming up at Scope, because that was our first gig together. Was at Scope.
I see.
And it was like, hey, we're gonna do a Beatles show and and it was gonna be like a tribute to the Beatles and James Bond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like both, because Dr. No premiered the same day the Beatles' first hit actually premiered. That was a little bit of trivia that I got to tease the audience with.
Oh, nice. Is that the poster from that?
Yeah, it was. And do you recognize?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah. Now, the I'd set this up by I think I'd played a scope before. I think I can't remember if I had or not. But
I'm
it was
sure you had.
so
yeah.
Rob Daniels was on the bill with us. Rob was the he pretty much produced the entire solo CD. So an EP, and he'd done so much work on this, and we decided, well, we couldn't do any more than one long set.
No, I think your background music.
Oh, is it too much?
Yeah, it's a little much.
Just like my personality, it's a little much.
Yeah, so we thought, well, we couldn't do a full evening of Beatles music because even I didn't have that much memorized. So what we agreed on, we said we'd do an hour. We'll do a couple of original songs, but then I invited Rob to come along. He can do a couple of Beatles songs, do half an hour, 40-minute set, mostly his own music, and of course I'm standing there, like, where it's an hour before. He should be here by now, and half an hour before I'm on the phone. Where are you? You're supposed to be on. And I get into voicemail, texting him, and then about 2 minutes before he went on, he phones. Oh, was that tonight? So I think we had somebody else was in the audience that actually got up and opened. As I recall, I can't remember who it was, but he did a decent job. You remember?
That was something else.
This was 2012, I think. So that's a while ago.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. That was fun.
2012.
So I got another question for you guys.
Oh, actually, hang on a sec. I'm going to slow you down a bit because we actually got some pictures. So this was.
There we go.
Oh, look at that handsome young guy, and then there's that hipster.
There's that hippie in the hat. There's that hipster in the hat.
That guy on the left, is that the bass player?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
that was before he decided that he didn't like to trim his beard.
just so you guys know, I'm not familiar. Where was the Scope? Where is Scope? Where was it?
It's on Burroughs.
Okay.
Which
Burroughs
is
Avenue.
Yeah, so that's kind of the north end.
Arlington. Burroughs in Arlington.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah. But right,
That's why Ryan was late.
just north of the very beautiful Arlington Bridge. Yeah. Those of you who know Winnipeg know that I'm being very sarcastic.
That big metal monstrosity where you, depending on who your carrier is, you either lose service or get service while you're on the.
So Phil, we didn't quite answer your question, right? You said how long was it until we started playing until it's all in the mind? Well, here we go. I'm going to show you a couple of things here, right? These are big things.
Hey, don't go away.
No.
He's coming back.
Nobody leaves the set.
Here we go. So you can still hear me, I assume.
On my interview.
So when we first started playing, all right, we didn't know how long it'd last. So we started playing with as Mark Davis Stanley with Ryan Janz. Here we go. And I actually just got these. These are some banners. I just got them framed up. I was going to hand them back there. Right. So we got. See, this is the banner.
Yes.
There's Mark Davis Stanley with Ryan Janz at the bottom. Right. There you go. And that's the beat. That was because I had just written a song, which we call the Bond song. He's Gonna Find You. And
oh man, I keep forgetting that's like the first song we ever really worked on together.
I think so. Yeah.
First original piece that we really ever worked together.
Yeah, it was, and then of course, very quickly it was realized, okay, we're gonna be around for a while. So I gave them equal billing. So I got this other banner as well. I got made up. So Mark Davis and Ryan Janz. There you go.
Still no name, right?
Still no name. But
no,
then,
it was like a year. It was probably 6 or 8 months before we came up with the name.
Yeah, it may have been even longer. But I've got a picture. If I can snap to it, if I can get to that quickly.
Yes, quickly. I have a lot of questions to ask you guys.
Just got to find the right
though.
one. Oh, there it is. Okay.
I have to mention while we're waiting.
There you go.
Mark is actually producing the show today, as usual.
as every single day. Yeah. So this is the Loft, but it was.
Yes.
The reason I bring this up, you can see the banner in the back. One of the banners in the background. There we go.
Oh yeah.
And it was about this time that we decided, well, we're going to bring a drummer in, and so we played with Scott for a while, and then we had. So there's one other guy we practiced with a couple of times, and then he didn't turn up at all. Completely ghosted us.
I remember him.
And then we ended up with Dan, and I've got a picture of Dan somewhere. Maybe we'll get to that one in a bit.
Yeah. Well,
but it was because
there's two things I got to point out. Oh, you finish. Come on.
Yeah. So the thing is, I didn't want to keep adding names. I didn't want to go. Mark Davis Sallard and Ryan Janz and Scott, or whoever was the drummer, right? So we decided we needed a name, and then it was just out of the. We were struggling for weeks and weeks, and one of the names I came up with was the Sea of Holes from the Beatles, right? The Yellow Submarine, which is the inspiration for the swirly thing behind me. And then I realized after about a week of mulling this over that people are going to start calling us the Holes.
Yeah, you don't want that.
I didn't really like that. And so
who's playing at the club tonight? Oh, the Holes.
The Holes, yeah. I'm going to go and see the Holes. So I decided that, It's All in the Mind was really the only thing that was available that sounded good. Anyhow, so there you go.
So if I can ask, what first got you guys into music? Like I'm not a musician myself, but I know I was like 3.5 years old when music totally fascinated me, and I was playing like my mom's 45 records, making my own playlist before I could even spell and stuff. So what first got you guys into music? Where do you get your inspiration from?
Oh goodness, that's a deep question, man.
I'm the host with the most.
Okay, all right, yeah, you bet. Okay, so I kind of hate this question, and I only reason I like it now is because I get to ask it to other people and watch them squirm. When someone asks me, it's like,
you're right. It's a good feeling when you ask that question.
Yeah, exactly. You watch somebody get thrown off their game like you've done to me now. That's okay, Phil. We love and accept.
Hey.
All right. So for me, I think I've always sort of had an innate ear for music. I've always been able to pick up on rhythm and stuff. It's just sort of something that naturally came to me. When I was about 8 or 9, I started expressing interest in learning piano. We had an upright grand piano at home that I always kind of play around on. And my mom would notice that I'd listen to, say, something like Jeopardy be on like just in the background. And then I would sit there and I would try and pick out note for note, and I'd get like half the sequence down. So do 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 do, oh no, do 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 do, no do do do, and, just I'd play it by ear and I'd get the melody.
And that's kind of that's how he performs as well now.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly it. Mark would be like, "Here, new song, listen to this," and I'm like,
because I'll hear in the background, dum dum, oops, no, dum dum, oops. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
How about you, Mark?
It's not that big a deal if you see me go like this, just playing. But if I do this,
but like, how old were you, Ryan, when you first got into music?
8 would be the first time.
Around
8, between 8 and 9. I can't remember. Probably 8, then turned into 9 because it was in the wintertime. So when I started lessons, so yeah, probably would have been about 8 going into 9. Learning how to play piano, just basic piano, and then. My first teacher was actually really good. The next teacher that I had was not so good. So then I just wasn't interested now suddenly in learning. And then it wasn't until I was about, but then I'm just going to like retain that sort of like play around, try this, do this, just try things. Right. And then I was probably about 12 or 13 when I decided that I want to be a bass player. Because
I like that sound effect. When I decided,
it's the springs holding my. I have like one of those little zigzaggy things that holds it. So if I bump this, you'll hear the.
It's all good.
It's my emphasis. There we go. 12 or 13 because my friend, some junior high friends. This is like mid 90s, so like right in the grunge era. We all wanted to do like punk and grunge, and we had like guitar players and stuff like that, and no bassist. And I was like, well, I can play bass. I think I want to play bass. And I just remember having the discussion. I had decided that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to play bass, and I remember having a discussion with both my mom and dad. They're like, well, people don't really go to shows to see bass players. I'm like, I don't care. I want to be a bass. I want to play music, and that's how I want to play it.
So your parents are bassists.
Yeah, exactly.
They practice bassism, yeah.
This is very personal to me, and bassism.
You were intimidated by the question at first, but you answered it really, really awesome. Now that we've heard from the bass player, I want to hear from Mark. Mark, when I first got you into music, and inspired? How
Well,
do you get your inspiration?
well, like I said right
And
at the
then
very
we'll go for a
beginning there.
song, okay?
So what's that?
After we'll go for a song,
Sure.
okay?
Yep, we'll go to your place for a song. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think, like I said, I was surrounded by music as a kid. We had a healthy record collection and a gramophone, I think we called it. So it was one of those big units that had the record player, radio, and then a place to store your LPs. It's a big wooden thing, and so I would just play my parents' records from as young as I can remember. I can't really even say how young it was, or how young I was. But I've always loved, and from as long as I remember, it was the Beatles, the Bob Dylan, Simon and Garfunkel. It was all the music that was there that my parents were playing, and I would always go to those. But it wasn't. I guess I've always kind of written songs as far as I can remember. I do remember walking home from school of an evening, just taking my time, but humming and making up songs as I go, and I would get home because I'd forget them completely. And this was just life. This was just I like music. Music was in my head. I had no way of recording it, but I never really thought about recording it either. And I was about 15, I think. 14, 15. I was at a youth club, and there was this girl I liked was playing guitar, and so so I went, hey, you want to show me how to do that? And I let her put her arms around me and then it was actually So the very first piece I learned to play.
Ryan, where's your stand-up bass, man?
Was this ready? Without the pick. There you go. That was the first thing I ever learned to play.
Ole!
Whatever.
I'd love to hear more of this, but I want to hear the next song. So.
Yeah, so for sure, actually the rest of the story was then. So I had been given a guitar on my I'd been given a guitar for a birthday present, but it arrived on one of my sister's birthdays. So you can imagine there was a big uproar. It's my birthday. Why does he get the guitar? And then my dad said, I've had enough. He just wrapped it up in some garbage bags or something and threw it in the loft. About a year later, this happened, and I thought, I remember that guitar. So I went up into the loft, got it, and a year later, so I locked myself in the room, metaphorically, not literally, but a year later, I came out of my bedroom, and I'd written a handful of songs, and I was ready to perform. So that was like 15, 16. And then about a year or two later, I got met up with Gavin, who we've had on the show a couple of times.
Right.
And we had a good 10 or so years of super productivity, creating new music and performing. Yeah, so you can tune into those other shows that Gavin's going to be on in October 24th to talk about some new music that we're writing. All right. Anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There you go. That's my. Hope that answers your question.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. I got more questions, but I need a song from you.
Hey, just the one, or do you want a couple?
Let's do one.
Just one. Okay. Here we go. Let me.
So that will be Mark performing. We try.
I've lost something.
We don't usually do much performing over Zoom just because of internet complications. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mark
David Stallard.
Okay. Oh, actually,
was that too much?
We've been ignoring the audience. I just want to say hi to Pauline Santoro, who's been with us since the beginning, and Chris Lady says woohoo. So I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, I was going to mention to anybody listening that I'm busy looking at the questions and stuff, and I'm not a good show producer like Mark and Ryan. I'm not seeing the questions right now. So if you guys see it at your end, when we come back after the song, let us know.
Okay.
All right.
We don't need you on the screen anymore.
No.
Goodbye. This is where it should be, with just me on the screen. Right. So, okay, so I'll be quiet, both of you. Okay, this is my spotlight.
Right.
My turn. So this song is actually I wrote before I met Ryan. Although this is a song that It's All in My Mind does as part of a regular set. It was actually inspired, and it's not the song. I can see Ryan nodding in the background. This is not the one I played earlier for warm up. This was a song that I was actually on the phone with my wife. On the phone tweeting, and I'm waxing poetic about my wife. And someone replied, I hope someday I'll have a love like yours. And I thought, that would make a great song, and here it is. A Love Like Yours. Too many times you've been broken down, your heart scattered like ashes in the air. I won't tell you there's a better place, not when you're already there. It's great to see you smile. Oh, I love the way you look into his eyes. It's great to see you so in love. Hope someday I'll have a love like yours. Yours is the shoulder that comforts all, supporting me as my world drops away. You pick me up and watch me start again. But now I get to witness your day. It's great to see you smile. I love the way you look into your eyes. It's great to see you so in love. Hope someday I'll have a love like yours. I've seen such a change in you. You seized the shadow and cast it to the sun. Always a dream of a perfect life. You took control and well, now it's begun. It's great to see you smile. I love the way you look into her eyes. It's great to see you so in love. Hope someday I'll have a love like yours. A love like yours. A love like yours. There we go.
Nice, awesome. When did you write that song? Years ago?
Yeah, it was about 2012, I think. It was right before I met Ryan.
Yeah, it was
So,
just before we kind of met. Yeah, I think you had sort of, because that's been one that we've sort of had in our repertoire
Yeah.
for a while.
it's from the beginning.
And yeah, exactly, right from the very beginning. And I remember that being one of the ones that I had. Sorry, I'm just making some adjustments to my rig here. Yeah, it's one of the ones that it was that song plus a couple. There's one off your why can't I think of it? It's off your single album that sold it for me. That was one that just sold it for me.
Yeah.
Right there. It was like, yeah.
Oh, I remember. I remember.
This,
I remember the one. Because you mentioned this before, right?
yeah.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Once upon a time.
Oh, that's
a
the wrong
man.
song.
We can do that.
Yeah, there was that one, and then I can hear it in my head.
But it's all in your mind.
Yeah, it's all in the mind right now. That's it.
It's all in the mind, you know.
It'll come to me. We'll be like in the middle of the next song that Mark's been in there. I'll be like, that's it.
Now, I think as host, it's only fair. We've seen Mark's instrument. Right?
That's not as rude as it sounds.
I want to see it. The audience wants to see it. Show us your instrument.
Which one? Which one?
Stand up one.
So okay, all right. So I'm gonna be completely honest with you people. Most people are like, oh yeah, he's a bass player. I'm gonna tell you just how exactly serious I am about my particular craft of being a bass player. I have 6 different bass guitars, including One of them is a stand-up upright bass, which Phil has asked me to show, and I will. And I've named them all.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they all have names. So the one that I will introduce to you very shortly, the lovely and talented Sally Sparrow is her name. That's the big stand-up, and we will make Sally sing for you. Mark, if you're able to pull up that picture of us at the Loft when we were playing with Scott, there's something I want to point out. There's two things I'm going to point out, and then Sally Sparrow. You might ask, where did I get that silly name from? Well, that's a Doctor Who reference, and if you look at that, I'm sorry, I can't see it on our screen here, Mark. But is that Loft picture up?
Yeah,
Scott. Okay,
yeah, that's one.
So if
Scott,
you look, yeah, there it is. If you look, I'm wearing red Doc Martens, which is a huge callback to the David Tennant.
Those are what they call sand shoes. They're not Doc Martens. They're sand shoes or sneakers or baseball boots. Right.
Chuck Taylor's is actually what they're so it has sort of a double. The bright red was a David Tennant reference to when the Doctor met Martha. He was wearing shoes like that, and he kind of wore Chuck Taylor's throughout the whole of the series. But the red ones were from that series, and that's the series where they have the episode Blink, which is where they have Sally Sparrow, which is the name for that. Coincidentally, if you look at where Mark is standing, right next to him is a speaker with a stand. And that speaker, infamously, in fact, I don't think it was that gig, but it was on a gig similar with Scott. That gentleman who was drumming for us went and turned that speaker just a little bit so he could hear a little better, and that whole rig fell right over and took out a table.
Well, actually, you can see in this bit, but if anyone's familiar with those style of speaker, you'll see that the leg that's coming down from left to right there. There's that support that's pointed down almost as big an angle. That's supposed to be straight. That's supposed to be straight, and it's supposed to hold in place like that. Instead, what they've done is they close the legs together, so you got this kind of a look. Yeah. Anyhow, the whole thing went. Anyhow,
here comes Long Girl Sally.
Yeah, here we go.
Sally, right? Not Susan.
Yeah. But Phil, watch what he's doing, but don't blink.
Yeah, don't blink. Don't even blink. Blink and you're dead.
Uh-oh. Yikes.
So there's a little bit of the Ocean's 11 theme there, which actually became a huge inspiration for us when we did a song called Going In, which sounds a little bit like this.
They hurt who they want, just to take it home.
So there's a little bit of that. Now, we have a surprise for you. We actually have a new song that we're going to debut in this one. But there's another way to play this instrument here. Now, any of you who are Steven Spielberg fans would recognize this theme right here. Now, we were at the Loft, and I had just purchased Sally, and I was coming and showing it off, and we were playing around with it, and I did that riff, and I made this one girl, I can't think of her, she's on Instagram now, and I haven't kept up ties with her. Amy, Amy, and she's like, "That's freaky, don't play that." I was banned from playing the Jaws theme.
Well, thanks, Ryan, for showing us thanks for showing us your instrument, and you're at the end of your rope there. I see.
Yes, yeah. That I need a longer headphone wire. Otherwise,
hey, this a question open to both of you. Best places or best place you played, and worst experience.
Best and worst.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. I would say the two best places we played at, the Loft there that we were showing off, was always very kind to us. It's not around anymore. They made some poor business decisions on the other side, but they were always good to us. And the only other place that also isn't around was Finn McCool's. I think, Mark, you'd agree. Every time we played there, we got paid. Dean was always very good to us, gave us good spots, basically gave us run of the thing. And again, like you said, we're guaranteed to get paid. Here's $300 for the night. Go.
Nice.
Those are probably the two best places. Worst places, Mark, you go first, and we'll probably have the same one. But
I'm not sure that. Maybe I'm just too positive. I can't really think of too many places that were negative. We did have an experience at Aussies, which is no longer there. Which is underneath the zoo. Those of you who are not from Winnipeg who are watching, we brought this up on the show a few times. It's the Osborne Village Inn, under which there was Aussies and the zoo. There were two different clubs, one on top of the other. They were immaculately sparkling clean.
No,
but Aussies was fun. We played there a few times. I think I played there as a solo for sure. But there was one time we turned up with me. We had Dan was drumming for us, and then we're playing. And I've got this new voice modulator, so I could during the choruses I could flick it on, and I could do a little bit of detune or add a chorus just to fill out the chorus there. As I'm the only
didn't it duplicate your voice too? Like where you could do like a duet?
Yeah, it would do a number of things. I just said it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I was trying this out as well for the first time. We get up on stage and the sound man says, "Yeah, I'll just sound check you as you start." So we didn't even get a sound check ahead. I go, well, whatever. I mean, usually as a solo artist, I don't care. As long as I can hear myself in the monitor, you do what you need to do for everybody else. But so I was immediately, I could hear me, so I was fine. I kept going. Brian, I think, was next to me, so he could hear what he was doing. At the end of the show, I noticed that Dan was having trouble with timing, and I thought, well, maybe he's just having an off day. Apparently, it turned off. He couldn't hear from the speaker, from his monitor. So I did ride him for a little bit about why didn't you say something during the show. So that was bad, all because we didn't have a sound check. And then the sound guy came up to me and says, what did you have on your voice there? Sounded horrible. It was annoying. And I'm like, oh, well, you're an asshole. Yeah.
Well, so that's why we have sound checks.
But we did have another semi-negative appearance there, but that was more of a misunderstanding, and I don't think we really need to go into it. Though.
No, and it'd be kicking a dead horse. There was just a misunderstanding where the soundman said he was supposedly supposed to get paid, and it was like, well, dude, we're not getting paid, so if we're not getting paid. You're not getting paid.
It wasn't. That wasn't part of the agreement that we had with the manager, and the manager just double checked the emails and went, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And honored it. They were decent enough to honor it. So that wasn't it. I think the worst we could say is a gig that actually never materialized. There's a place that is, I think it's still around. I don't know if it's the same owners. Apparently it could be. It's right same neighborhood. And basically we went in there and I said, look, I'm playing, and that time I was playing in It's All in the Mind, and I had another project, and then was representing a guy who's just doing DJing. So I had 3 acts, and I said to this guy, look, I can get you 3 acts to fill in your bars, and the DJ is willing to do 3 nights a week. I'm willing to do Friday with one band and Saturday with another. And he's like, oh, okay. And I said, but here's the deal. The DJ gets guaranteed $100 a night, and we need $300 for the 2 bands over the 2 nights, which is like a minimum. That's not an unreasonable charge, right? Yeah. And the other band was a 5-piece. So I was like, so we're potentially could be bringing in quite a few people here for you, and not to mention all that stuff. So we had it all set up. We had another 3 bands that were going to come with the metal band. We were going to do, I think, Mark, do you remember if we were going to share that night or we were just going to do the whole night? I can't remember.
Oh, sorry.
It doesn't really matter because it never ended up happening. So what ended up happening was the DJ came in, and the owner was like, well, how many people did you bring in? He's like, I wasn't told I was supposed to bring in any people. And he said, you just need a house band or a house DJ. I'm just going to do that. And he said, well, I'm not going to pay you unless you bring people in. And so we got a big thing. And he was actually holding the guy's gear hostage.
Oh,
and so I went down and talked to this guy. I was like, look, you can't do that to my guy, right? Like, what's this all about? Like, we never once, like, here's what we agreed to. Never once in any of this does it say that we have to do any of this. I'm here to promote my music and help your bar. I'm not here to advertise your bar. Right? If you want to do that, you can get somebody else to it. And he's like, well, but you're gonna get so much exposure here. I'm like, actually, no, I'm not, because you've already confirmed to me that you can't fill up a Wednesday night. So if you can't fill a Wednesday night, you're not gonna fill a Friday, which means my gig's a bust, which means you're not gonna try and pay me and the next one. So I'm pulling all my bands out and basically grabbed some of Andy's equipment, and we just loaded it in his car and got the hell out of there. And it's like never again. So that was the worst gig we ever had. That never happened, cool. Except for poor Andy, and I just felt bad for him.
So I think I understand correctly. We have another song coming up.
Well. How much you paying? I don't pay for free.
You don't have a money truck backing up right now in your driveway.
Okay.
Listen.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. I'm gonna steal the focus again. Here we go. Okay, this is a song we do all the time.
And Mark, before you start, I want to ask a question to both of you, and you can answer after the song. Creative process. What's it like? Like, do you need soft romantic music and low lighting? Do you need some weed, some booze? Think about it, and after the song. What's the song called, Mark?
Sorry. Right, sorry, I was giving you some background music. Sorry. Okay. So, this song was
a little low.
It's a regular song. That's a song we do pretty much every show. Actually, it's one I always fall back on. Wrote this one, probably one of the last songs I wrote when I lived in England back in the 1990s, early 1990s. This is an old song. It's a song about my childhood. It celebrates my childhood growing up in the countryside. It also laments the fact that the countryside is no longer there because it got bulldozed down and houses built on it. The song was called...
Mark, can I just ask a question?
Yep.
Are you further from your microphone?
Yep. I have to be, otherwise when I
sing.
sing...
sounding a little less loud.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'll jump straight into the song anyway. But so the song is called "Games We Used to Play," and now my voice gets louder when I sing. All right, here we go. Right. Defending our wild forest, wooden swords as hard as steel, hanging rope from the branches we played as children will. Screams and shouts echo through the woodland behind our home. Well, it seemed they'd always start that way, all the games we used to play. Streams became raging torrents, and locks became ships of steel. Rigging made of twigs and leaves, I'd be the captain at the wheel. But my mutinous crew would argue he wanted to be captain too. Well, it seemed they'd all go on that way, the games we used to play. As outlaws, we hired from men who would trespass in our wood, robbing the rich to feed the poor. Oh, we battled for what was good, but Normans came with axes and devoured our forest home. Well, it seemed they all ended the day, all the games we used to play. The games we used to play. We used to play. Ooh. There we go. Looks like the mics are going funny there. There we go.
Hey, Mark, I can't hear you. Where are you?
Hello? Yeah, what's going on? I can see the visuals are all going funny.
Ryan, how are you doing? Can you hear Mark?
Yo,
Okay.
he's a little low.
Wait a sec, guys. I'm just going to reset the... Okay.
Welcome to the Invisible Man
1,
Show,
2.
All right,
where
see?
anything can
Nice.
and will happen.
There we go.
Yeah, that's entirely true.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, the mic looks like it's on my end. It's going funny.
Yeah, you're pretty quiet,
Oh,
Mark.
yeah.
I can barely hear you.
That's crazy. Yep, I can't explain it. Anyway, I'll just get really close. Let me turn that one down. 1, 2. How's that? Any better? Oh, that's a bit better. 1, 2. Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. Let's keep going. It looks like
That's
All right,
a little
like
better.
it's possible that one of my mics was I put the 2 mics on and it dropped the sound down by half. Anyhow. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway.
my question before
Yeah.
the song was creative process. Describe it for each of you.
I took the last one, Mark. Why don't you go ahead and I'll go after you.
Well, usually I wait for Ryan to come up with something and then I steal it.
You see, it's my process except the names are switched.
There we go. No, usually I tend to work with the. Actually, get everybody back on the screen, shouldn't I? There we go. I like looking at myself, so I just didn't really realize. Usually I work through partially inspiration, and it's partially intentional. So if I'm writing a song, it's almost always I'm noodling on the guitar, playing some chords, or maybe I've got a fiddly bit. And as soon as I get a hook, something there, I can put some words to. I can often that will then lead to some more words, and then I can get a topic and then build around it. Once I've got that little nugget, then I will often sit down, sometimes even with a rhyming dictionary at the ready, and then I'll try and figure out the next verses and treat it as if it is a piece of formal prose, like I'm writing poetry, intentionally getting everything in the right place. So it's a little bit of both, but that spark won't. The song never ever happens without that. The thing that I pull out of the music, if you saw me, that little nugget that I can hear that maybe other people can't, and then kind of start small, and then then it grows, and I nurture it.
Any special rituals or superstitions or something like that?
Not really. No. It can come from anywhere. The song that we're going to be hearing shortly, I've been noodling for a long time. And I couldn't do anything with it. I didn't know where to take it. And I was watching television, as I often will do. I'll be if I'm alone in the room, I'll pick my guitar up and I'll just noodle along while I'm watching TV. And something came up, and I went, "Oh, that phrase they just said, or that at least I interpreted it, will fit very nicely into this." And an hour later, I had a song. I had all the lyrics written.
Right on.
Yeah. So sometimes it can be completely unintentional, just trying to kill some time, just keeping my hands busy while I'm doing something else. Sometimes I'll sit down and intentionally try to write something, which at least one of the songs that I've written with Gavin this last couple of months was intentionally. I sat down to actually create something. Yeah. So it's
Ryan, do you actually, Mark too? You guys both? I should have asked first. You both write the music or songs for It's All in the Mind?
Yeah, we both write. I've written songs. We actually have some songs that I had written with another band that never went anywhere. And then of course, nobody seems to be using that music, so obviously we use it, and so we took it. One of them is called Disco's Not Dead. And Mark took it and spun it and put his sort of flavor to it. But we used the main progression that I had written. For me, it just sort of, my whole creative process is usually Mark says, "Hey, I need something that sounds like Ocean's 11 or something like a cool." Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah, so and it's great, and when you were able to do both of us playing that riff at the same time, it just sounds even much better.
Very punchy.
I don't think we'll even give it a shot without the latency would just kill it.
You know, we got to then when next time we do live, whenever we're allowed to get out and play live again, we'll definitely add that on because it's actually a very it's one of those ones it always made me giggle because it was the story of the song is I'm tired of staying in, let's going out for beer and wings, or let's go out dancing. And then I see my wife dancing in the song, and then when I see you dancing, I know disco isn't dead. That's the chorus, and it's always such a lot of fun. And in the end of the song, it's like, oh my god, it's so loud in here. Let's just go home. Let's pick up some beer. Let's pick up some wings and go home.
Pick out and go home and watch.
So it's one of those very rare tongue-in-cheek songs. I tend to write reasonably seriously, but that was the lyrics there were intentionally tongue-in-cheek.
Well, hey, if you guys had to, go ahead.
Mark and I will bounce ideas off each other. Like, hey, I got this riff, or hey, I got this song. I've been writing this song. I think I challenged Mark one time. I said, hey, I've got a song. It sounds something like this. I want to call it I want to sort of pay homage to this infamous bar in Toronto called Sneaky D's, and I just want to call it Sneaky. I think we ended up calling it Sneaky Pete, and it's all about the guy who's just trying really, really, really hard to pick someone up at the bar, but just it's shot down every single time, and so we called him Sneaky Pete. And we sort of did that fun little tongue-in-cheek thing, and then Mark put this one-liner in that actually made me snicker during practice because he hadn't written the lyrics yet. We had kind of played with it for a little bit, and then he comes back, he's written it, and I'm looking at the lyric sheet, making some notes because it's just a chord chart, right? So I'm making some notes as to where and one of them is like he's driving home in a beat-up Sunfire, and at the time, Mark old Pontiac Sunfire, so he was sort of like joking about it. This guy's way too old to be hitting on the young girls and driving this beat up Sunfire.
No, to be honest, that Sunfire, it was a bit old. Okay, it was had a few grey hairs, a couple of wrinkles, but she was still beautiful.
It was a great car,
but it was still a Pontiac Sunfire.
It was
to and from many gigs in that car.
Yeah, it was virtual. It was solid. It was I had the one. If you did the maintenance all the time, I think they had no work to be done on it whatsoever for about 13, 14 years. I had it, and it was only a year old when I got it. Except for I knew it was time to have the lovely lady put down because the steering wheel came off. So it was like something broke. and I'm driving home one lunchtime and I went, oh, crap. It was like playing Mario Karts with that silly wheel, on the Wii, And it was like just trying to get home.
The whole steering wheel off, airbag and all.
Well, it was still attached, but it was like nothing. The column was like...
Wow.
Yeah, but she was a beautiful car.
Yeah. That's when you slow down and you open the door and you roll out. Tuck and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite sad when we had to say goodbye to the Sunflower or Sunfire, not Sunflower. To and from.
Do I understand correctly that there's one more song yet?
Yeah, we've got one that we haven't quite finished the recording, but I think I'm happy with what we got.
Cool.
That's I did allude to this song.
When we come back from that song, I just want to talk a little bit about community and some of the stuff you guys have been involved with in the 204. Carryland comes to mind. If you want to let people know about that, because one of my things, my next question is, if you guys could open a show for any artist, who would it be? Well, for me, I'm looking forward to the day that I can get up on stage and introduce It's All in the Mind.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Well, let me answer that one. I don't know if there's anyone particular, but I always wanted to play I Want You to Know, full band opening for Michael Bublé.
Oh, yeah?
I thought that'd be great, and then I thought maybe he could come on and sing the chorus at the end or something, or I could come on and I could sing everything with him, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so.
But you, Ryan, AC/DC?
It's because I pick out AC/DC almost every third episode. I have to mention them.
I picked up on that.
Yeah. I would open for anybody if I could play music professionally and make a career out of it.
Because you know AC/DC is back, eh?
Yeah, I saw that. Back in gray. So black's a little too strong.
Yeah, for sure. Eh?
Gray is good. That's a nice calming neutral. That's retarded. That's such a retarded. Anyways, I always joked with my other bandmates in the small town antics where we joked and said, because nobody likes, Nickelback has been a really successful Canadian band, but everyone seems to like pick on Nickelback. And I was like, I would open for Nickelback in a heartbeat. Yes, Mr. Kruger, I'll get you another beer, sir. Oh, would you like to throw another one at my head? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would put up a lot for $60,000 a year so that I could play as a musician, sir. Yes, I'll go get you another tequila, sir. Oh, with the lime this time? Yes, sir. No problem, Mr. Kruger. Here's your tequila sunrise. Like, I'll get you whatever you want, man. Like, that's fine. Not Chad Kruger would ever pay attention to that particular scene, but yeah, I mean, I would very happily play for them. But if I had or could could play for anybody, anytime period, I would love to open for Led Zeppelin. I love Led Zeppelin. They're one of my favorite classic rock bands. Led Zeppelin, probably in the Led Zeppelin 3 era, right in that. If we could put it that. Why that era? I just like that album. Led Zeppelin 3.
I'd like to put It's All in the Mind opening up for Eminem.
For chocolates?
Why don't we say Guar at the same time, right?
So maybe I'm old, but why would you like us to open up for a bag of chocolates?
Well, because you guys are my friends, and Eminem is my favorite artist.
Not M&M's. All right, okay.
Yeah. You ready with the song there, Mark? And then we'll talk community afterwards.
Sure. Okay, just a quick intro. We're not going to be talking too much about the song because the song has a political element, and we want to, while I'm happy talking about the song, we want to try and keep the controversy away from this channel. We will, at some point, maybe this week, Ryan, we haven't discussed the date or not, we'll do a Two Guys Fixing the World where we'll play the song again and talk about it in a bit more detail. The idea behind it is quite simple. We've got two, the US, actually in any liberal democracy where you vote for your representative, you always end up with only two options who are going to get in Canada. It's the NDP, it's the Liberals or the Conservatives. In the UK, it's a Labour or Conservatives. In the US, we know about the US, we hear nothing but. And you end up with only two choices, and you've got to pick one, even though you hate both of them. So that's what this song is about. It's not about picking on any one side or the other, just saying we don't have any choices at all. Anyhow, the song is called Here We Go Again, Nothing Changed.
Trust that lovely man. He says he'll do all he can. There are two who claim to be the one, but you can't choose none. Support our local team. No captain ever says what he means. His goal will be revealed soon. The money calls the tune. Inside, outside, there we go again. Doing what we always do. We'll just continue to pretend. Beware the hero that you choose. lesser of the two. Don't dare to make a different choice. No one wants to hear your voice. Two is not as evil as the first, and one is by no means the worst. Evil that came first is better still, but evil will still kill. Inside, outside, there we go again. Doing what we always do. We'll just continue to pretend. Before you give away your vow, don't forget your subservience vow. Thank the man for his promises so vague, which are as deadly as a plague. Once our dictator has his throne, he'll treat the damn thing as his own. After a few years of pain, we'll get to do it all again. Inside, outside, there we go again. Doing what we always do. We'll just continue to pretend. Nothing's changed. It's all the same.
There it is. Yeah, so some
Yeah,
comments.
way to go.
Some comments there. Shalim joined us, I guess, 25 minutes ago, whatever. Said that, my thing sounds a bit psychedelic, almost like a Beatles sitar type tune. Exactly what I had in mind. So I'm glad that came across.
Awesome.
Chris says needs a catchier hook. We'll figure out what that means. And somebody else. Song is apropos for everything going on.
It's Pauline, yeah.
Oh, so Chris says might as well die. Yikes! Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Chris. It's always the positive one. Okay.
Well, so everybody understands and knows what's going on these days. The ramifications, the non-stop list of things that are changing because of COVID-19 and the pandemic. So it's shut down like so many venues and stuff like that. And I know when I was in Colorado, I happen to know that you guys have played shows and that you're involved with a little bit of, I don't know what you'd call it, backyard shows or something like that. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, yeah, there was Luce, Carrie Luce Forsyth, we had on the show many times. We're going to have we're going to have her on again in a few weeks. I think it was December, whatever. They're going to be on again before we take the Christmas break. So Luce is fronting a project called Cannabis Castle, which we have been heavily involved in. It's about a year, and that's kind of progressed into a series of outdoor concerts at Cannabis Castle, which is her place out just south of the city. it's got a huge deck, and we've had multiple events out there. Obviously, with some very with social distancing in the crowd and everything. If you want to use the bathroom, you got to follow the arrows, all that other good stuff. And if you're wondering, was it really safe? We actually had the police turn up late one night, about 10:30 one night, who came and had a good look around and was completely happy. And then they
Really?
said, yeah, and then they were completely happy, and they walked away. So they were happy with what we were doing. And it was 2 weeks ago, I think, that I played. I actually opened for who's on. So we had Dustin Harder's Prairie Soul, and Load was on. Yeah, and I actually got to perform. Ryan couldn't make it because it was a date that kept changing.
Well, we had some. There was some mix up on the back end. We were originally supposed to just play it one day, and I had set that apart. And again, like, it's one of those things where it's like, I want to play, but my free time here, if this represents my time during the day, my free time is like this, right? It's tiny. So it's like, if I don't know 100%, because I mean, I got a wife and a little daughter, and we're juggling between two houses right now, and trying to do all that stuff, and then I have to work full time as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so come on, let's support independent musicians so I can at least play for you.
Yeah. So
and there was just a little bit of mix up, and we were kind of confused at the time, but then Mark was able to contact Lucian. I was like, sorry guys, I just can't make that happen now because it's different.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. I'd love to, but no hard feelings there. So
yeah. So for that one,
well, that's the way life goes, though, right?
Yeah. So for that show, I opened up, but I actually invited Kyle Hauser and Brendan Saul, who are respectively the guitarist and drummer for Loads, to jam with me, and that went really well. So they
awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's probably. I don't want to. I'm not an expert on anything really, but I think that might be the way of the future for the next little while. Like,
yeah, it's kind of going back
shows, more private shows, kind of thing, smaller.
Yeah, it's like almost going back to the you kind of think of the Jane Austen movies where people are always playing the piano for family members, you know. We kind of think of going back to doing house concerts, people playing music for each other. Rather than for big venues, but yeah, who knows? Who knows where this is going to go? We've had plagues before. I think we've had plagues before, and we've had worse ones than this. And we as a species have come back. No reason to believe why we won't be doing big shows again in the future. I just don't know how far in the future that will be.
Right, that's the $1 million question. Nobody knows for how long.
I think there's going to be a cultural shift too, though, where it's going to be a while before this backyard concert thing kind of dies, because that's where you get the best shows, right? Mm-hmm. Like even with us, I think about we've had like we'll practice for like 2-3 weeks preparing for a show, have like 3 sets, and a lot of it gets mechanical. You have like one set, like your middle set, where it's like, here we're going to introduce some of our originals, and we'll play our hearts out for these ones. And then the last set, there's not really anyone in the bar anymore anyway, so it's just more of a fun time, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's going to go away. I think we're going to see more backyard stuff because you're playing for a smaller amount of people. So now you want to make it really, really good. So then you take 5 or 6 songs and you make them amazing. And then people are like, man, that's going to be like, oh yeah, I was at this Toronto, like, I'm going to bring it back to Zeppelin. Oh, I was in Toronto in 1975 and saw them play at this bar for like 100 people. And it was amazing because we could be right there. And the next time you can see Zeppelin is in the stadium, like, at Maple Leaf Gardens or whatever it is. Right. And it's just not going to, it's not the same. Right. So It's always better. You can have smaller venues, and I don't think that's going to go away.
No, I agree. I agree with you, Ryan. But I do think, obviously, there is there's an appetite for live music. I mean, now my news feed on Facebook is junk because of everything that's going on in the world. But I've seen a lot of people post like, "Oh my gosh, I want to see a live show."
Yeah,
I think this is where we have an avenue in with the small, more intimate. Couldn't you say personalized more?
Yeah, that's probably more personalized, right? Mm-hmm. I think Mark's right. Yeah, we've had lots of plagues and we've had lots of reasons not to play in the past. That's all going to change probably in about 2022, I think, is what they're predicting is sort of normality will come, because they do have some promising vaccines up and coming. So that's good news. But it takes time for people to develop an immunity for it to become more and more safe, right? So until then, we're all going to have to be cautious. Even if the numbers completely decline, our line flattens, we don't have a curve anymore. We have to be careful because we were down to 0 in Manitoba, and
I was going to mention that, yeah.
A handful of people to be careless, and then all of a sudden we're bouncing back up there. We've had a couple of weeks where it's been like, okay, well, we're almost not quite to lockdown, but we're pretty close.
Yeah, you guys are still in orange, right? In
I can't remember.
Right,
yeah,
probably. I haven't heard anything different, so
masks everywhere.
so we have to. Yeah. It's masks everywhere. Mandatory masks everywhere. When you go out, you sanitize everything you can to mitigate. So.
Okay.
I was going to add something, but then I forgot. So somebody jump in! Oh my God!
Yeah, we have been going for about hour 20.
Hour 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
20 minutes. Yeah.
Good show. Good flow.
I've got lots of pictures, but we can save those for another time. And and we got lots of stories as well. But just so everybody knows, just give everyone an update. I haven't done an update video in the last couple of weeks, but we are now fully booked right through to the end of January next year, and I've got and we're also booking into February and March, so I'm expecting those to be filled up.
Who's coming up next week, Mark?
Good question. I've been too busy thinking about myself that I haven't thought about the next show. So
not bad for my first time hosting a show ever, right?
Yeah, pretty good.
You do it every day, don't you? Yes, ambulance head. So ambulance head from the UK.
Ambulance head from the UK next weekend.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but then I'll do an update video on the Facebook page, maybe later today or tomorrow, and let everybody know who's confirmed. So it's looking good. We're going to be doing. I've got several dates just reserved, just in case we have any fun ideas. We can jump in there, so we're not gonna. So the last 6 months we've been since March we've been fully booked, packed. We had an idea for a hangout when. I wasn't able to do it because we were fully packed, but we did have someone drop out later in the year, so we get to do the Winnipeg Folk Country Hangouts, which will be a lot of fun. And I'm reserving some dates throughout the year next year, so we can do these fun shows and do something a little bit different. So we're not just doing the same interview show. So we'll figure out what happens there and how successful those are.
See, now, for my part, I've had a lot of people ask me, well, when is the Colorado Phil show coming back? And I actually this morning I got a message from somebody asking me for, I forget the name of the band there. They wanted to hear some music from that band. The Colorado Phil show will be back. You can see it right there. Weekday afternoons, right? 12 to 4 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2 to 6 p.m. Central, 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's still going to be on Tri Lakes Radio. That's TRI, Tri Lakes Radio, www.trilakesradio.com. You should check out the station, even though the show's not back. But like I said, it is coming back. The issue, before I came up to Manitoba from Colorado, I shipped some boxes to myself, and I don't know, the guy from FedEx, I think, made a colossal mistake of some kind. I noticed just now. And my stuff just got shipped back to my home in Colorado. It traveled the country, and then the beat up boxes showed up at my house in Colorado. So we're gonna have a week. Oh, at least, yeah. What a bummer, because I have my computer, but I don't have the cables that go with it.
Right.
But it'll be back.
Yes.
I got. Let's see here. What's today? Saturday? Gotta sleep. No, I can't do it that way. I got a bunch of sleeps there. My quarantine is still not over yet. which that's a whole other story. I would never wish anybody to be put in quarantine. It is a lot tougher than I give credit for.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
6 or 7 more sleeps and I'm done quarantine.
And then you can come up and party with us.
We could do a whole live. We can set up a whole thing. If the weather's nice, we can actually do it in my backyard here on Belmont. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We got a great big space. We could set up some tables if the weather's permitting in a week. If not, we'll have to set something up in the basement. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sounds good. Okay, let's call it a day.
Yeah, let's do that.
Um,
Thank you so much for everybody that's been listening. Don't forget to share the video, even if you're watching it in replay. And hi to anybody, I forgot, I'm sorry, anybody watching on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can find all the links at theinvisibleman.ca. Go check out our website.
Okay. Thank you very much, Phil, for inviting us to your show. It's been a lot of fun. And you can kind of see now. Usually when we close the show, we'll chat with our guests afterwards, and they say, "Wow, that was quick. That went quick. It went super fast today." And
It did. It really did.
And it's 30% longer than usual, right?
It is.
It was quick when we're on the other side of the mic. It went that much quicker on this side.
But hey, it was my debut hosting a show.
Yeah.
There we go.
You did good. Man. You did good.
Oh, thank you very much.
You did well. Okay, anyway, enough of that.
Oh, wow. Oh.
You done.
Yeah, so
You done.
enough controversy for one day. Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much. Appreciate the audience. There's been a bit of chat. We've been a little involved in the show to read a lot of the chat out, but we tried to read out as much as we could. So thanks, Chris, Pauline, and Shalim. Those are the names that are coming up immediately. So thanks for joining us. And for everybody else that were just watching, we'll catch you all next week with Ambulance Head from the UK. So we'll see you then.
Woo!